Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Highcon Fireside Chat. I'm Simon Lewis, the VP of Marketing at Highcon, and it's my pleasure to welcome our friends and partners and customers in the UK, the Delga Group, represented today by Conetta, the Managing Director, and Rob Austin, the Commercial Manager. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining.
Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, all.
Okay, during the course of the next 40 minutes or so, we want to talk about Delga and Delga's Highcon journey and how you see the market and your aspirations, especially around what you're going to do with the Highcon over the coming months and years. But let's start with some basic introduction. If you could talk to me about Delga, about the Delga Group. Tell us a little bit about it so that we all know who you are and so on.
Yeah, okay. So the Delga Group has been trading now for just over 60 years. It's based in the southeast region of the UK, in Kent. And the Delga Group consists of Delga Press, who we'll talk a lot about today, which hosts the Highcon Press. It consists of Delga Labels, CSP, who is a printer primarily within the public sector and National Health Service within the UK. And also Skybox Printers, which is a commercial arm of our business, as well as a couple of other dormant businesses, Six Size Packaging, which is a small B2C platform that we've also launched not too far away. But if we talk about Delga Press, realistically, Delga Press has been for 60 years a printer to what was then the music and entertainment industry. We're a folding carton printers, and the history of the business was entwined within the media, music, entertainment. So cassettes, vinyl, CD, DVD, anything related to the entertainment industry. And it had a very good business, very good niche business within that period. But over time, the digitization of that industry and the downloads and the Netflix and the Spotify's and the likes have had a significant impact upon that business model. And we've been on a bit of a journey in the last 4 to 5 years in the diversification of our product, diversification of our brand, diversification of our brand awareness, and how we also take our business into the next chapter. And part of that journey, as we'll talk about today, has been the incorporation of the Highcon Press about a year ago, which is then, will start to and has started to offer us more value-added services to our growing customer base.
Thanks for that introduction. So Ian, it's like the change in the world is a bit of kind of pull the rug out from under your feet a little bit as your traditional business went away. So what kind of customers are you serving today with what kinds of applications?
Well, I think what happened to Simon, you're right, the rug was pulled, but it was a rug that was pulled that we were aware was being pulled. There was a process that was happening. When it went, don't get me wrong, it was, to see such a large chunk of your business walk out the door is quite frightening. But we'd set the wheels in motion to prepare ourselves for that. What we didn't have, and we're still working on enormously, is brand awareness within other sectors. So initially we went after everything, not too dissimilar to any business that's chasing a bit of revenue at that time when its core business has walked out the door. We chased and we hunted, and when we went looking for what we could to complement the service offering that we had. In the background then, we started to make more of a strategic approach to what we had and how we could bring some value to the market and how we could generate the awareness of the Delga brand. And what we didn't want to do, and we still don't want to do and have never wanted to do, was to compete on price. We needed to have a differentiator away from price. So as you enter into that folding carton arena where we had such a niche market, we were a go-to printer within that music and entertainment industry. We had to have something different to offer to the client base. Standard litho, standard die cutting, standard gluing lines was not going to cut it in areas where there were businesses that had brands. So the first thing we done 4 years ago was invested in a HP Indigo 12,000 HD. The 12,000 HD at the time, we took the first one into the UK and we put a heavy substrate module on it, so it almost then incorporated into the carton world as well as the commercial world. And it just gave us something a little bit more unique. It gave us that ability to go with what we wanted from our brand, which was high quality, short run, multi-SKU folding boxboard, and that little unique element, that first part of that investment, gave us something to shout from the rooftops as we were starting to develop a new brand, a Delga brand, within other areas other than that niche markets that we were historically servicing.
And how's that worked out for you? Because it's been a few years now. Are you on track?
I think that what we've done in that journey, Simon, we've jumped from sector to sector. So we spent a little bit of time as we came out of music and entertainment and entered into a particular sector in the UK where we saw some quick wins. You know, we went after quick wins early on, and as we learn, if you like, where our service offering could offer value within the UK market, we were able then to start a strategic approach to how we approach those from a sales and marketing perspective. So we're on a journey. We're a long way from the completion of that journey, but we're certainly making quick wins now as we go along and finding our feet. We're a lot more organised. Some of the work that Rob's team is doing internally with the key account management structure that we have now in place is enabling us to offer a far greater service and experience to our customers as we take them on that journey with us.
That sounds like a great segue to ask Rob what it is that you are doing to help make this transformation succeed.
Well, it's true. So one of the key things that we've tried to look at here is, okay, certainly, and the Highcon is very indicative of this, and that is we've got to sell a product that customers maybe don't even know that they want yet. So within the folding boxboard sector that we service, as Ian's correct, you know, we've got many different customers who have many different industries themselves. A lot of them just want a plain carton. It's there as a vessel to carry something or what they're selling. A lot of people, over the last kind of 10 to 20 years, have then developed packaging to sell their products. So packaging does a lot of the front end service. Highcon and together with as Ian mentions on the Indigo, the technology that's available, a lot of people don't know anything about it. So what we've got to do is we've got to position ourselves as offering a service at that very front end. We're not just a manufacturer. We can help with design. We can help with the conceptualizing what it is that you need. So what we're developing is a design team, a true design team, which includes graphic design as well as carton design, and then with the account management as well. So and that divides itself up in two ways. So existing customer base, let's tell them what they could have. Let's advertise. Well, have you thought about this? All those things that printers usually do, but don't do a very good job at. They don't do a good job as what you'd like them to have done. That's why print management exists. So there's a lot of intermediaries out there. A lot of them do a fantastic service. We should do the same. We should at least fill the void. We're the experts. We're the people who know the product. We know what technologies available. We've got to be able to advertise that. So either with literature, you know, these things will happen on the website with literature, but face to face, let's get to the right people. Let's not just talk to buyers. Let's talk to the people who are designing. Let's talk to the marketing teams, the sales teams that are going on, you know, right at the start of the chain. That's our aim. We're not there yet, but that's the journey that we're on. So, you know, in a nutshell, that's it.
I think you're trying to do the right things. It's not easy,
No.
But the opportunity that can come out of helping open people's eyes to the possibilities is enormous. It just requires patience and perseverance, I think.
Yes, well, and we think of it as an efficiency as well. Imagine if somebody does talk to us, they've got an idea, because we understand the manufacturing, we understand therefore the commercial side of every decision that you might make. We can advise when these things are going to stay on budget or go off budget. So, you know, we all know these situations that exist where someone dreams up an idea, I don't know, special finishes, special treatments of manufacturing that cost a lot of money. It's explored, it's quoted, you go down the journey that could be 2-3 weeks time, and then actually it doesn't fit within the budget, we're not doing it anymore. That's not efficient for us, that's not efficient for our customers. So how do we work with them right at the beginning to be able to provide that service and steer them the right way? That's going to, you know, working within the budget, working with outside the budget. And so therefore find that efficiency for us as well as them is key to them.
The last year and a half have been extraordinary. I had hoped that we would be sitting here talking about how the extraordinary times have finished. I somehow fear that they haven't yet. And we're still living in unprecedented uncertainty with COVID raging and rearing its head where we thought it had lowered its head and so on. But how are you looking today at the market and the trends around in the business environment? I'm interested to hear your take, especially what, if anything, has changed and or been accelerated by the whole COVID story.
We've had a remarkable journey, really, Simon, in as much as that, as I said, that the group consists of trading companies that service different areas, different sectors of the industry. And what we've seen is peaks and troughs throughout that 18-month period in the different sectors that we service. For instance, the commercial world, as you would imagine, our business pretty much dropped off cliff edge early doors, and we were scraping around with everybody else looking for a bit of work. Our public sector NHS company CSP for 2 to 3 months after the start of the pandemic was very, very busy. You know, there was a lot of need for the clinical and critical forms going into the hospitals, and then the hospital shut, and the print store and deliver function that we have for these, which contractually, you know, we're obligated to hold 3 months of stock. That 3 months of stock became 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, because those hospitals weren't open, so they weren't, you know, generating usage of those forms. Our carton business actually, you know, did okay and continues to do okay. We've had some really good wins, new customers, particularly within a beverage environment where people were buying their own 6-packs and the likes now. But we made some good inroads in that carrier board market, and we also launched our label business at the start of the pandemic as well. You know, so we were quite brave at that time. We felt that the importance to us as a business then was, if we were treading water, we were going backwards, and it was important to us that we didn't tread water. We continued to move forwards, and we tried to do that in every decision that we've made. And it's been difficult. Don't get me wrong, but we've held our own, and we continue to progress. Now, you asked the question of where we see this going now. Those businesses, and I refer back to those 4 core sectors that we provide. The hospitals are open. They're in desperate need now of replenishing stocks, and so that part of our business has increased enormously in the last 2 to 3 months. Our commercial business has reopened, you know, as such, and we're seeing a month-on-month growth in business coming from there, but also within the commercial arm, because we can cross-sell the services of the group companies. There's real added value to the sales people within that environment. Labels has been you know, a prominent area throughout this pandemic, and so we've steadily grown that business. And the carton now, where we're really hoping, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this as we go on, but you know, the Highcon was installed at the start of the pandemic, so we've had a period whereby we've utilised this press, but haven't kicked on anywhere near as much as we would have liked to have done, because the marketplace where we see some real inroads for us to add new customers to our business, you know, has been quite dormant during this period. So it's been a challenging period. It's been a challenging period for any business, but because we've got this group service offering, we've managed to ride it probably as strong or stronger than most.
Well done. And I want to come back to Highcon shortly. Before that, I do have one more question. One of the things that people talk about a lot on the back of the pandemic is how the trends of shorter run lengths, faster turnaround times, more e-commerce as a channel have accelerated. Are you experiencing that?
I mean, I think my take on that is most definitely you're seeing shorter runs. Most definitely you're seeing shorter turnaround times. There are things that impact that. The availability of material at this moment in time, you know, is causing problems within the folding boxboard environment. But we've set ourselves up as a business, Simon, as I alluded to earlier, that USP of being that short run, high quality, multi-SKU, you know, packaging printer. So that if anything, if that trend continues, it falls more and more into the niche service offering that we're hoping to provide. With regards to e-commerce, we did set up an e-commerce B2C business, probably best part of 3 to 4 years ago now. 6 size packaging, which was to offer personalised packaging to the direct to the consumer. You know, I'll put my hand up and say we haven't, as a business, invested in that enough to kick that on. And I think that where we've been facing other battles along the way, that's been one that's sat by the by, and we really now, as we go into the next financial year, really need to start utilising and driving the benefit for us, especially with the Highcon investment that we've made. Rob, you might have a take from an estimating perspective on runs.
I think so. In terms of run length, you're quite right. Where the trend's coming from. I think you can also understand there's a lot of variance around it, and what I mean by that is that consumers like variance. So today they might buy something, tomorrow they may be the same brand but a different variant of that because they like variety. What that means is that probably from the retail areas of industries, stock holding can't be as vast as it used to be, because you've got to carry more lines, more SKUs and volume. And then coupled with that, again, the trend for volume is probably back in the history of where your unit prices used to become more economic, was in the higher volume because of setups and because of time involved. So those two things probably culminate together into where we see things now, which is actually there's a ceiling of where this unit price probably stabilizes and where it peaks. And for us, it's kind of really nicely in the niche of, if you've got a lot of multi SKUs, we can help. If you've got some large volumes of a few SKUs or even just one, we can help with that as well. Because we operate with the two diversities. But people are surprised. People are surprised that actually, it's not as expensive as you once thought it was because of those low volumes, and it works for people. Order more frequently, but lower volumes. That is what we see.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to now your purchase of Highcon. So you bought which product from us?
Euclid 3.
Bought the Euclid 3. And you bought that roughly a year ago, right?
About 14 months ago, yes.
14 months ago. So really, as you said, at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Many people would say that's the worst possible moment. But probably you thought, at the time that the world is going crazy, we have to do something different.
I think that I'd like to claim that was our thinking. The reality was the deal was done prior to us really understanding the impact of what COVID was going to bring to the world, and the reality was we were too far down the line to even consider doing anything different. In fact, your engineers probably just got out of the country in time after installation to get back to their families before we all went into some form of lockdown. But we did go with it, and we did believe that at that point there, if we could back ourselves to be brave, back ourselves with our thinking that we got into the investment in the machine anyway, that we could make a success of it, and we could utilise that time to generate that brand awareness, generate the awareness of our capabilities, utilising this machine. And we spent a lot of time preparing some internal stuff, some boxes and cartons and presentation boxes that I'm sure we'll showcase a little bit today, but just showcasing capabilities that during that period we've used the machine and utilised our time proactively to prepare ourselves for Q3 and Q4 of this year.
Okay, so your decision was made before the world went into meltdown.
Yes.
What was driving the decision? Why did you invest in Highcon? What was it you wanted to achieve? Talk to me about the journey to your decision.
I think as I've already alluded to, when we had to start to generate a USP for ourselves as a business outside of a niche market that has served us so well for best part of 55 years, 56 years, we had to have something. We had to have something that was different, that again, it was a differentiator for us as a business to stand ourselves aside from the individuals that we were competing with. And the HP Indigo press had already set that tone of that short run high quality, multi-SKU, flexibility within a folding boxboard arena, taking away that, you know, the generic 10-day lead time, the generic 12-day lead time, generic cartons, you know, giving us that something different that said, okay, as Rob said, multi-SKU, more SKUs the better. You know, the quickness, the versatility of being able to put ink onto paper that we had within the printing press. We now needed that to take that the next step further. We now needed that versatility, that flexibility, that quality, that added value. I'll come back to that phrase a lot. The added value services that the laser cutting can bring to our customer base. We will talk, I'm sure, about consolidation of work and new business. But, you know, initially, the flexibility gave us that ability to improve turnaround times, to be able to be quick to respond to customer requirements. You know, we can even talk about internal issues here where we might have come up short and, you know, not having to put a job through a standard die cutting process again. You've got the ability to be flexible, turn things on, go back in very quickly, and react, as I say. So the journey very much was about complementing what we'd already started. You know, we started that with the installation of the HP Indigo. The next stage now was to give us some kind of a finishing equipment which complemented that, which took the service offering to the next level, and most certainly that's what the Highcon does.
Great. So are you pleased with your decision?
I beg your pardon, Simon, sorry?
With the decision, you know, it's all very well in theory. Now you're a year and a bit later. Was it the right move? I'm 100% believe it was the right move. I think that we haven't anywhere near utilised or sold this machine to the capabilities that it has. There have been circumstances, unprecedented circumstances that have impacted that. There will be a point, Simon, in the world and certainly in our business where we stop using COVID as an excuse. Okay, and that's coming. You know, that really is coming. But we're on a journey. I keep coming back to that journey, and I'm really happy that we have the press on site. I'm really happy with what we now have as a service offering. I'm really happy with the understanding of the capabilities that we have of this machine. And now, you know, it's up to us to show the world what we can do. And Rob, as the commercial manager, how do you feel that having the Highcon capabilities in your portfolio of services is helping you to try and develop Delga's business?
It's very useful. I mean, we've got two sides of it. The service from Highcon kind of post installation is amazing. You know, it is a kind of real partnership. So as we develop and like we said before, is that we've got part of an education here to pass on to a lot of our customers how to use it and how to use that technology. What that does, though, and as Ian said, a USP for this business. The Highcon is part of that journey that says we're not just trying to catch up here, we're trying to steal a march, we're trying to get in front of a few of them and give people something that, like we said before, doesn't, maybe they didn't know existed, didn't know was possible, something that you kind of went, I want one of those. What is that? The wow factor that goes with a lot of packaging. It's a tactile product, packaging, it's visual, so how do we exploit all of that? What goes with that is it doesn't have to be a premium price. This is something that we can sell in a similar way to our conventional work, because there's an offset. There's an offset for us in terms of how the commercials, the workings that we look at behind every quote that we look at that says, well, conventionally, it's going to take us X amount of tooling and X amount of time to set up and run this job. We've talked about how that can impact low volume and multi-SKU, but versus the Highcon with kind of pretty much unprecedented setup times and obviously the tooling costs, that there is a conventional dart cost to it, but you can offset that as certainly even lower as part of the make ready. It gives you either the same cost as a conventional working, but also with that multi-SKU and that variation, you can really offer a more competitive rate for the customer for something that they just can't get anywhere else.
Do you find that the customers understand when you show them samples? Does it give them ideas, or are they still stuck in their conventional mindset?
You have to focus on who you're talking to. Somebody, like I said before, somebody who says, I've got a product to sell, and oh, unfortunately, I need a carton for that. That carton, that might be viewed as, you know, let's be honest about where we are in folding boxboard. Some of those cartons are just a vessel, and they end up being recycled somewhere, hopefully. But it's the product that they're buying. Other customers are very much about the presentation, very much it's all part of their brand, it's all part of the experience in what they're selling and the presentation of the product. And sometimes the packaging is better than what the product looks like. And that's what sells for them. So if you're talking to the right area of that business, it might be a startup company for us. It may be a brand owner. It may be somebody who's a procurement professional. Those different people have different aspects about what they want, and their task to get something off their table can't be muddied with us saying, oh, have you thought about this, or what about that? So you really need to be either in the brand owner, someone who's looking at the aesthetics, or the marketing team who's they're trying to give a USP themselves in the same way that we have. What you need to do is show them. Like I said, print is a very physical and tactile product. It's less common these days. People are used to having device and electronics in their hand. So what we do, we produce some sample packs. And as you say, ideas are the best thing. It's kind of it's the best compliment if someone says, I really like that. That's what I want to copy. Can I do that, please? And we say yes. So we try and show them what's possible.
Great. Has the Highcon helped you win new customers? Absolutely.
I mean, even as we speak now, we're talking to people who, like I said, they didn't know it was possible. Even the intricacies of what we call the decorative cutting, the size of apertures, it's certain things that they've done. I've even got a product on my table now where the apertures that they had fits within their brand. They're kind of hexagonal shapes, and they're a certain size that they've had because they're conventional before. We didn't provide those. They've come to us, we've said what's possible, and the sizes have reduced. And the customers are blown away because now it fits with the rest of the paraphernalia that's on the outside of the packaging. One small example of someone saying, oh, right, I didn't know we could do that. And yeah, we can, and it's easy, is how we present it. It may be a little bit more difficult to talk them through it, but yeah, it's doing exactly what we want it to do.
Okay, so you're a year plus into this. What do you know now that you wish you'd known on day one? Because if you'd known it on day one, it would have you could have accelerated faster, if at all.
I wish I'd known that COVID was going to the impact COVID was going to have on the world. I mean, that's my easy stock answer, Simon, isn't it? You know,
yeah, I don't that one is beyond all of us. Other than the COVID thing.
I think that there are. I wouldn't say limitations. I think that's an unfair word to use, but there are certain areas of certain materials that the Highcon machine doesn't produce a result that we would have liked, due to the laser, and we're working our way around that. And that's an experience and a knowledge thing that we gain from that with the support of your team, and they're fewer and far between now. Other than that, what else do I wish I'd known? I don't really think there is anything, Simon. I think that what I do know is that the support and service, Rob alluded to this earlier, but the support and service, post-sale service that your team have offered is phenomenal. And I don't think we've ever experienced that anywhere else with any other kind of investment we've ever made.
Well, that's I have to say, it makes me feel very proud of our outstanding team. And one of the things I feel very strongly is that a team can try and provide a service like that, but the customer doesn't always get the same experience. So what you're experiencing, then I'm gratified, and I thank you for the compliment, and thank you on their behalf as well. Thank you. Okay, so you mentioned this a little bit, but maybe we can expand on it. Obviously, the cost structure of a finishing project is different on a Highcon than on a conventional die cutting solution. How do you see that in terms of what's the story you want to tell to your customers? do you want to tell them that it's invisible, or do you use it as an opportunity, for example, to attract new kinds of work because there are new kinds of business models available?
Okay, so sorry, Rob, I'll go first. I know you're itching to get involved in this, but there are two facets to the Highcon investment, Simon. The first one was the consolidation of existing work, the driving of efficiency into existing customer base and existing work. Okay. The second one being the attraction of new business on the basis of the new service offering and value proposition that we have as a business. When it comes to costing, there will be approached in two different ways. I think you'll find the consolidation, the driving of efficiencies into our business, the utilisation of that machine for the benefit of our own business model will remain and has remained that way. You know, any efficiencies that we've driven into historical work, we've retained within our business. As we go to sell that into a new business marketplace, then obviously we need to be effective and we need to be, you know, competitive whilst not underselling the value of the proposition that we have. I think is probably the broadest explanation I can give you to that question. But Rob, sorry.
Well, I think what we've got to consider is, again, back to the service that we offer. Do we understand the expectation of the customers after? You know, we have multiple routes, just as we do with the indigo press and litho. We now have with the laser and the conventional die cutting. Are any of those routes that we've got available to us in terms of manufacturers going to meet the expectation of the customer? That's what the account management team and the sales team are meant to provide, and that's kind of what we work hard on. So in one respect, if we quote a job and this is the most efficient route that we can find to produce it on, so be it. If there's any limitation or compromise that needs to be made to do that, then we'll communicate that and we'll consider it. And that's kind of really what it's about. Just as we might find with, we can do this for colour, or you can have this as Pantone colours. One's going to cost more than the other one. That can be the customer's decision. We can say this one, we can do this manner or this manner in terms of finishing. That can also be the customer's decision, because maybe there's a price compromise to make. So it's just about communicating that. We don't sit there and choose the route ourselves without the consultation that needs to take place if there's a compromise on the actual aesthetics of the product.
There's no blanket response, I think. Yeah.
No. Okay. That's the beauty of print. Every job is different. It's why a lot of us still enjoy it and drive ourselves mad with it. But that's exactly it. Every job is different. And as I say, for Delga, as we sit here in the marketplace, we service so many industries. So we're not sitting there in a clinical environment where everything's pristine, white, and needs to be presented in a certain way. Similarly, we're not just servicing the drinks market with a lot of craft-backed materials. We've got so much variation. We've got small, large, different types of presentation and styles of product. Each in their own individual evaluation will result in something else that we throw up. That's part of the service. So that's how we handle it.
Okay, thank you. Talk to me about sustainability. How do you see sustainability impacting your business? What are your customers asking for? And do you see Highcon as part of your sustainability story?
I can talk, yeah.
I think that obviously what the Highcon gives us from a sustainability. Listen, first and foremost, a business needs to be responsible. Okay, the business acts responsibly within the environment. It's important to the world. We know that. What the Highcon offers obviously is a reduction in waste first and foremost. Which has an impact then from a sustainability perspective. It reduces the need for mass production. We spoke about that. The ability for a customer to have shorter stock to hold and more repeat orders. So any machine that gives flexibility, any machine that gives versatility in a manufacturing environment has to have an impact on sustainability, has to have an impact on a business's performance within that sustainability environment. And I think that the Highcon does that. It does what it says on the tin in that perspective.
I think if you look at people's, whether it be the consumers or customers of ours. I listened to last week's Fireside chat with Richard, and he's quite right. It's not just a trend anymore. You might argue that maybe 5 to 10, certainly beyond 10 years ago, sustainability and recycled materials was a kind of a niche consideration that people had. Maybe a tick box kind of exercise. And now it's serious. People won't work without it. And I think as we then continue on, the future generations will be absolutely not taking no for an answer. On the other side of sustainability, what's happened over the last couple of years, certainly for us as folding boxboard producers, is gone in our favour. People coming away from single-use plastics or materials that are made up of partly recycled is again a bit more of a necessity. One of the things that's true of the recycled word is that recycled board is usually more expensive. So people like it and shy away from it. They don't buy it anymore because it's prohibitive on the price. A recyclable is absolutely fine. With the Highcon, it's different. We're not talking about a price increase for something that's more sustainable. Another point that Richard made, again, hazardous tooling, there's no easy way to dispose of them. It's made of wood and metal, which are recyclable on their own, but when they're coming together like they are, there's no easy way to dispose of them or put them into waste. And the Highcon covers that very well.
Great, thank you. What about packaging innovation? You talked a little bit about it, but do you think that there is more demand by brands, companies for innovation in packaging, or is this a hard slog sell?
I certainly hope it's the former. I think I'm certainly hopeful as we move forward now that what the Highcon will do will give us that ability to be more innovative. We spoke about this earlier in this conversation. Part of our key account management team is driven by a creative side that's looking at the capabilities of our manufacturing and looking at how we can keep pushing our own internal stuff, keep pushing the boundaries of the creativity of our own internal stuff, and sell it into the right people to show, you want this, you think you want this carton, but and we've seen your artwork, but if we approach it in this way and we do this or we do thus, and we utilize the equipment that we have, you can have this. Not going to cost you any more. It may cost you a fraction more, but the impact, the wow factor of your packaging is going to be somewhat more visible, to the customers' end users. So I do believe that from an innovation perspective, a creative perspective, we have a full complement of suite that will help us push on.
I'm convinced of that. Let's wrap up with one last question. Other than COVID going away or being conquered or whatever, where would you like to see your business and Highcon's role in your business 12 months from now?
Okay, so I think that part of this journey that we commenced a few years back was led by the brand, led by the fact that we had a brand that was quite significant within a niche market. But outside of that niche market was limited. Its knowledge was limited, and so a journey commenced. The journey commenced about a story, telling the world of Delga, telling the world of the Delga brand, and raising this brand awareness. But also, incorporating belief in that internally as well. It's all well and good selling a story to the outside world, but you've got to believe it, and you've got to live and breathe that as you're living that journey as you go along. So we've come a tremendous amount of way, Simon, a real long way. We have high quality digital manufacturing on site. We've got a high quality label manufacturing on site now, which gives us a one-stop service offering to a packaging environment. The Highcon press now then gives us that ability to deliver a brand that is uncomparable or incomparable to others. That they're going to have to go an awful long way to meet the quality of products that is able to be manufactured from our sites. Okay, and with that brand, with that capability, with that service offering, I would like to see a continued growth in recognised customers recognize customers that are coming back to us, not just because we do what we say we can do, but we're able to offer value to their product. We're able to take their product, understand their problems, and deliver back something to them that far exceeds their expectations, which sees them wanting to come back for more. And I believe that with the quality of staff that we have, with the quality of investment that we've made, and where we are on that journey, the next 12 months are going to be a very exciting time within Delga Press.
You know what? That is a really strong and optimistic, upbeat note on which to wrap this up, and to thank you, Ian and Rob, for joining me and for sharing your experience and your outlook on the market. It has been very interesting to me. I'm excited by your seventh decade and what it can do for you, and I wish you success, and we will keep working together to do amazing things.
Look forward to it, Simon. Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Bye now.